Coverkillernation, somewhere in between the soft, comforting melody mixed with metal that is catatonia, the harsh deliverance that is Opeth, the doom that is your traditional doom metal bands such as a Solitude, the death metal stylings of a band such as Insomnium that also fuses together doom and melody. You get a band like Swallow the Sun, whose new album Emerald Forest and the Blackbird kind of is able to amalgamize all of these different styles together in order to create quite a lavish and beautiful atmosphere. Now, this isn't to say that Swallow the Sun's previous efforts have very little to really do with this particular style. In fact, all of them do. This is something that they have done very well throughout their career. Their previous album, New Moon, exhibited this very nicely. With Emerald Forest and the Blackbird, however, this is a band that is continuing their evolution of this style and kind of taking it to new heights here in 2012. This is a long album. This is an album that clocks in at about 66 minutes long. It's also an album that continues their trademark style in fashions that are not going to be all that radical from what they've done in their previous work. Is this to say that very little has been done to evolve their music? Not really, at all. There have been small, minute steps taken. They have crafted the sound. They have tweaked it a little bit. They have kind of found new ways in order to incorporate it and kind of diversify a little bit more. They found ways to blend their harsh, very, very heavy vocals along with the soft, melodic, beautiful vocals, combined them together, provided the atmosphere, provided the doom, provided the melody, provided the harsh, in order to create a very enjoyable and easy to listen to experience. Those people who maybe listen to bands like this, or maybe don't listen to bands like this is probably a better way to put it, and maybe discover Swallow the Sun for the first time, will listen to this and immediately kind of fall in love with the style, especially if it's something that they can easily tolerate. People that listen to albums from bands such as Opeth, who don't typically listen to harder edge music, may listen to Swallow the Sun with the same sort of vigor, so to speak, almost as though the two are slightly complementary, and it's because that there is a little bit of truth to that merit. It's because there's enough of a variety, enough of a differential throughout the entire experience that there is something to be said about how the band is able to incorporate and reflect their styles upon somebody. It's something where fans that don't traditionally listen to this style of music and fans that do are able to sort of all come together and mutually enjoy a record of this caliber. As for the music itself, as for the guests themselves, of course, a couple of albums ago, Swallow the Sun was able to get none other than the Catatonia frontman to offer some guest vocals on one of their songs. It's true once again on this album. Here on Emerald Forest and the Blackbird, they enlist the services of Annette from Nightwish for one of the tracks, in a very, very beautiful back and forth that they're able to incorporate on track number 4. They've also added another part to the horror, now quadrology, part 4 of horror, which is another signature and very, very well-crafted track, which fits in very, very nicely with the previous 3 that have been released on 3 previous albums. Overall, the music and the breadth of all of this comes together to create a nice atmosphere. It comes together to create lavish melody, but at the same time a very harsh environment. A duality almost of life itself, which is something that can be said and something that can easily be attributed to all the different things that each of us individually really take place in, or take part in. It's something where the harsher side can be the rage. The harsher side can be the scorn. It can be the tremendous amount of burdening, the tremendous amount of thought, the tremendous amount of pain that we sometimes must suffer. Whereas the beautiful side, silent reflection, silent acceptance. Almost as though walking through a forest and seeing both the forest's terrible realities while also embracing the small beauties. Seeing a lingering flower while at the same time it being standing right next to a burnt out or destroyed stump that perhaps was once a tree that had been struck by lightning or had been destroyed by weathering, by decay, or by disease. This is all music that reflects this very powerfully and with a very nice representation. The band is once again tighter than it's ever been on previous records, and you might wonder, if the music doesn't sound altogether, completely, and totally different, how is it possible to tell? It's because with each previous album, you're able to notice little things that perhaps didn't quite compute. You're able to notice things that were good, but perhaps were not pristine. Or things that were pristine, but maybe not perfect. Is that to say this album is perfect? Absolutely not. It is, however, to say that all of those things that previously were perhaps just a 7.5 to 8 on the scale have now been amped to an 8.5. This is a very good album. This is an album that I highly recommend for a lot of people out there. It's one that I think that will be well received by the community, and has been well received thus far, ever since it began to stream live on their website, and ever since it's become available. This is an album that's due out here in early February, and already heralds in that February is going to be a very, very good month for metal. Almost like the second part of January has really shown that metal here in 2012 not only is going to have a lot of resurrecting to do after 2011's commercial failures, but also is up to the task. Swallow the Sun, Emerald Forest, and The Blackbird is an album that I would highly recommend to you guys, the Cover Killer Nation. It's something that I certainly encourage you all to take 66 minutes out of your life and examine and give a trial to. And I can almost guarantee that most of you will come back to me after doing so, if this is your first exposure to Swallow the Sun, or if you're merely excited to finally know that Swallow the Sun has released something new, and you'll be very excited to report back your findings to me. At least that's what I hope. Take care.